Good? Yes. Oh, okay. Oh. Hey guys, good morning. Nice to be here today. It is Friday, so we will start with our usual pranayama practice, all right? But we will just take a few moments to sit and close the eyes and check in. Bring the awareness to the breath here. Notice how just that quick observation of the breath causes it to change. Maybe it slows down a little bit, or lengthens, or softens. Let the belly be soft. We'll start to connect with that vertical movement of the diaphragm here. A horizontal muscle that moves vertically with each inhale and each exhale. So we can start to, it's almost like you want to draw air in and push air out when you're breathing. Not almost like, it is what you want to do. Notice how the ribs expand out to the sides. Start to let the belly expand as you inhale, and kind of feel that pushing down sensation of the diaphragm into the belly as you inhale. And as you exhale, start to actively pull the ribs in and begin to connect with that diaphragm moving up into the thoracic cavity. So it's this really cool experience of allowing that diaphragm to drop down as you inhale, but still feeling that lifting up with the inhale. Not like the shoulders lifting or breathing just into the upper part of the chest, but as you inhale, there's a current that starts to happen. As you exhale, feel that diaphragm move up into the thoracic cavity, and you can actively push down through whatever part of the body is touching the floor. Do these at the same time, all right? You start to wake up these currents that are in us. And we'll start with our Kapalabhati practice today. But it's really good when you do this practice on your own, and I do hope you continue practicing this at least for like 5 minutes a day, whatever. Take a few moments to check in with these currents, because they can really support this practice. Kapalabhati is an active exhale and a passive dropping in of fresh air. really, not even called an inhale. All right, so it's an active exhale. So starting to connect with these currents before you get into the practice itself is going to support not only the action, but also that level of coordination that I talk about a lot, about how can you exhale and lift the chest at the same time, right? So I know that's difficult for some people. If you exhale, kind of drop the chest down, and when we exhale in Kapalabhati, it kind of pops that chest up a little bit because the diaphragm is working so actively to push that air out, all right? So let's go ahead and we'll take a few natural breaths before we get into our 3 rounds of 50 breaths, all right? Come back to those currents. Notice the posture. And take one more natural breath here. And then take that next inhale, and we will begin. You can always keep your hand here to help you kind of snap that diaphragm up and let it fall down, okay? So go ahead and inhale. And release. So that first round, I do that a little bit slower. You can keep that pace and not feel pressure to do it really fast. If you're watching YouTube videos, they can be confusing. They call it different things, they do it different ways. So just focus on what you're able to do and keep that level of coordination of kind of lifting as you exhale, okay? Let's get ready for that second round. So kind of take about a almost full inhale, about 3/4 of the way. And release. Take a few natural breaths here just to kind of notice the effects, maybe feeling that heat or energy moving, maybe feeling more awake. And then let's go ahead and do that third round, all right? So you can keep your hand on the diaphragm if you like, or just rest your hand on the knee. If you're going a little bit slower, don't worry about it. Just do the pace that works for you, okay? Let's go ahead and take that inhale. And go ahead and release. If you're going a bit slower pace, just finish up. We'll take a few breaths here. Nice work, yogis. If you need help with this practice, just email me. You guys know my email, takeavinyasa@gmail.com. Email me and I'll help you out with whatever's going on. Let's go ahead and come on into child's pose, okay?
Bring the awareness to where the weight of the body meets the floor. Begin to lengthen the space between each side of the breath. So that space on either side, that is the space where we do the majority of the beginning of a physical movement, and then allowing the breath to support the movement rather than expecting it or demanding it to initiate it. It's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to support it. So keep that space as we move through the practice, all right? And reach out through the fingertips. And start to walk the hands on over to the right side. Same breath here. Walk the hands back to center and on over to the other side. Nice work, yogis. Walk the hands back to center. Keep the hands shoulder width apart. And we'll start those modified sun salutations. That's what I call these, just to start pushing through the shins and the tops of the feet and letting that energy do all of the work. Push and lean past the wrists a little bit. Bring the gaze forward this time. Push, and this time bring the gaze forward and inhale. So that inhale keeps you in that final position just a little bit longer. And exhale. Push in, inhale. Try not to inhale until you're all the way almost in it. Notice how that changes it. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale, bring the chin and chest in between the hands, yogis. Inhale, pull forward, squeeze the elbows together behind you. And then lift the hips and sink them back to the heels, and exhale now. Push and lean and inhale as the gaze comes forward. Exhale, Ashtangasana. Pull forward onto the belly or lift the thighs up. And one more time to child's pose. Inhale. Exhale. Even pull back a little bit. Pull forward and inhale. And And this time lift the hips and exhale now, Adho Mukha Svanasana. If you can move the hips side to side, walk in place a little bit, just kind of move around, yogis. In whatever way feels natural for you, or habitual, or whatever. And breathe the same way. Start to walk the hands back to meet the feet. Keep the feet hip width apart. You can cross the arms here. Bend the knees as much as you want to, or keep the legs straight. I just have to start with my right knee bent a little bit now. So weird. You can walk the hands on over to one side and then the other. And walk the hands toward the front of the mat, yogis. And then bring the feet up to meet the hands. Bring the toes together. Keep the heels apart slightly. Begin to push down through the feet so much that you just start to roll on up, one vertebra at a time. And take a few breaths here in Tadasana. Check in with the posture and take a few moments to master the art of standing. You can keep the toes together. If you prefer to have the feet hip width apart, that's fine. Just take the heels out slightly. So we want to get this internal rotation and then start to push the shins away from each other. External rotation from the knees down. Push. The more you push, the more effortlessly you can draw energy up, this divine upward current of liberation. Lift the kneecaps. Push and begin to lift the thighs and draw energy up through the inner thighs. And the more you push and draw energy up rather than tensing or flexing, the more you push and really draw that energy up, you'll notice that just lifts the pelvic floor. It'll support Mula Bandha. Lift up out of the pelvis. Lift the heart center, take the shoulders down and back, and press the palms together actively so that you create that space in the armpit area. And same breath here. And on the next exhale, yogis, as you exhale, lift the pelvic floor. These are those currents that can do all of the work for you, all right? We'll go through a few rounds of Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, reach up overhead. And exhale, dive forward, Uttanasana. Push and inhale, lengthen. Keep the gaze forward, yogis. Step or hop back to Chaturanga Dandasana or onto the belly to measure where the hands are. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. In this down dog, take the heels apart so we get that internal rotation.
Push and lift the arches, reach and lift the pelvic floor. So you want to reach toward the back wall like you want to leave an imprint of your buns on the wall rather than reaching up toward the ceiling. Reach toward the back of the room. On the next inhale, bring the gaze forward, step or hop the feet up. Finish that inhale here. Exhale.
Push and inhale, reach up overhead. And exhale. Inhale.
Exhale.
Inhale. Exhale. Inhale.
Exhale. Same breath here.
Nice work, yogis. Inhale, bring the feet up, land softly, finish that inhale.
Exhale, use the belly to pull the torso in.
Push and inhale back up to vertical, press the palms together actively. And exhale. Inhale, lift up out of the pelvis.
Exhale, draw the low belly in and up.
Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. I don't know what I'm doing. Exhale.
Good job.
On the next inhale, bring the gaze forward, float the feet up, yogis. Land softly, finish that inhale here.
Exhale, Uttanasana.
Push and inhale, come on up to a vertical, reach up overhead. And exhale. We'll do one round of Surya Namaskar A, just so you guys remember what it is. Sink the hips. Inhale, Utkatasana.
Exhale, Uttanasana.
Inhale, halfway. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale. Exhale, down dog, right foot forward, push and inhale, warrior one on the right side. Plant the hands. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, down dog, left foot forward. Bring the gaze forward, push and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale.
On the next inhale, yogis, float the feet up, land softly, finish that inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana. Sink the hips, inhale, Utkatasana. And exhale, Tadasana. Take a couple of breaths here. Check in with the effects of your sun salutations practice. Check in with the breath and with the beat of your heart. Go ahead and hop the feet hip width apart, yogis. Exhale, bring the hands to the waist. Squeeze the elbows together behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Keep that length. Exhale, dive forward. Grab both big toes. Take another deep inhale. And then pull into this forward fold, Padangustasana. So in this pose, keep the shoulders up and away from the ears. Pull on the toes and resist back with the toes. So if all you're feeling is stretching on the back side of the body, bring it all into the front of the body. Lift the shoulders up and away and pull. Lift the shoulders up more and pull harder. This is not stretching. This is strengthening. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, slide the hands under the feet all the way up to the wrists. Take another deep inhale and exhale. Kind of that same thing here. Bend the elbows a lot, lift the shoulders up, and use the belly to pull the torso in. Padahastasana. You can lift one heel up at a time if you like, or play around with lifting both heels up. The natural progression is to somersault out of this. So if you feel like that's what's going to happen, tuck the chin, roll on out of it, and that is the natural progression. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release the hands, plant them shoulder width apart. Lift high up onto the toes, bring the knees up all the way onto the backs of the arms, and lean forward, pull the feet up. Keep the gaze forward. Pull the inner thighs together and lift the pelvic floor. And exhale, take a vinyasa. We're going to do a crow a few more times, all right? Nothing new, no surprises. All right, from your down dog, hop forward. Maybe you are landing on the backs of the arms. Maybe you are hopping forward and futzing around a little bit. All good. Wherever you are, Mula Bandha, push into the floor. Always push into the floor, not away from the floor. Two different things, totally. Push into the floor. That's yoga. And take a vinyasa. Hop back into crow pose, please. Keep the gaze forward the whole time. Resist the temptation to look where your knees are even going on the arms. Scoop that belly, deliver the knees. Trust that your legs are attached to your body and that your feet know what to do when you're not looking at them. Mula Bandha, keep the gaze forward.
On the next exhale, take a vinyasa. And then we'll do it one more time. We have worked a little bit on how to jump out of this. And so I'll give you a little bit of homework this next time around on how to begin. If you aren't already jumping back to chaturanga, or if you're jumping back and landing on your belly, or you know what I'm talking about. Then the key to winning at jumping out of chaturanga gracefully is to learn how to spring up off of the arms, not like shooting the feet back, but lifting up and kind of springing up so that you can land in it. All right, you can keep the gaze forward. Just practice how far up can you get off of the arms. So it's a little bit of a spring, and just only land this far back. So you're using the body to lift up off of the arms rather than shooting back and landing on the belly and hoping one day it gets better, because it won't. Lift up. All right, so there's got to be that little bit of lift up off the arm. All right. So we'll do that one more time. So just practicing to lift up and landing softly with your feet just a little bit back is going to be more effective than shooting the feet back and landing on the belly. So you should be in crow pose right now, and then take a vinyasa. Nice work. Okay, yogis, from your downward facing dog, take the hands and feet a little bit wider than you normally would. I tend to turn my toes out when I do this. Bring the gaze forward, take that left foot up behind you, and reach back with the opposite hand and start to kick. And bring the gaze forward. And breathe. And gently release. Let's go ahead and do that on the other side. Take that right leg up. And start to kick and pull. Go ahead and release. Just your regular down dog here, heels apart. Good. Bring the right foot forward. Start to move the torso forward. Roll the hip up. Roll the belly up. Ardha Chandrasana. Keep both legs active. And start to bend the standing leg, step way back, push and inhale, warrior two. Space in the armpit area. And on the next inhale, turn the torso toward the front of the room. Push forward, revolved half moon.
Keep the back leg active. And go ahead and reach back for that foot and slide the hand across the top of the foot. Start to sink down. So we've done this a lot. You want to make sure you slide the hand across the top so that you end up holding onto the outer edge of the foot. All right. And breathe. Push and inhale, lift back up to revolved half moon, please. And then take that foot way back. Stay in this twist. Parvita Parshvakonasana. If your hands are at your heart center, get them to the heart center so they're not stuck up by that shoulder. And exhale, bring the gaze to the toes. Come onto the outer edge of the back foot. Inhale, warrior one. Nice work, yogis. Plant the hands, bring that back leg through. Marichyasana A. Keep space between the foot and everything else. So you want space between your butt cheek and inner thigh. And in Marichyasana A, this bun needs to be up off the mat. That's what's going to get you into the forward fold. Keep the shoulders level. Inhale, lengthen. Plant the hands, lift. Right back into warrior one. And take a vinyasa. Left foot forward, push and inhale. Balancing half moon. Ardha Chandrasana. Keep the top leg active. Mula Bandha. And start to bend the standing leg. Step way back. Push and inhale. Warrior two. Space in the armpit area, just like always. That just means lift the heart center, take the shoulders down. And inhale, turn the torso toward the front of the room, yogis. Move forward, revolved half moon. Keep both legs active. And then go ahead and reach back for that foot. Start to slide the hand across the top so you can grab the outer edge and then sink down. Kind of push into that hand and pull back with the hand. And that's what's going to get you back up. Push through that foot. Lift right back up to revolved half moon. And start to step way back. Stay with the twist. Pravritta Parjva Konasana. Bring the gaze to the toes, come onto the outer edge of the back foot. Inhale, warrior one. Push through both feet, lift the pelvic floor. Plant both hands, yogis. Bring that back leg through nice and straight. Marichyasana A. Inhale as you bring that leg through. Get a clasp and exhale. Keep the shoulders level and reach for the toes through the heart center. Inhale, lengthen, plant the hands, yogis, step right back into warrior one. And plant the hands, take a vinyasa. Nice work, yogis. All right, we are going to go to the wall, work on some handstands today. Alrighty. And also we're going to use a strap after handstands, so make sure that you have that handy, okay? If you are already working on handstands in the middle of the room, then you guys know what you're doing. Go for it. If you are walking the feet up the wall or kicking up, lots of techniques, all right? So you can kind of do your own thing, or go ahead and follow along here. Plant the hands, take one foot up, and practice pushing it into the wall so that the hips lift up over the shoulders. If you want to be a little bit further away from the wall, that's okay. If that's easier, then the foot's not going to go so high. Push so that you're lifting the hips up over the shoulders. Keep that other leg hanging down here so you're not triggering the fear or any cortisol, because then we're just constantly battling that while we're trying to learn something, you know, that's already challenging. All right, so just keep that foot down here, push, lift the hips up over the shoulders, and that's really what I think is the best second step. The first step. The first step would be to be at more of an incline like this, and to just teach the front legs that they can hold the weight of the body, not trying to get the shoulders over the wrists here. Because that's not what it's about. It's about getting the hips up over the shoulders. That's a whole different thing, okay? So if you're kicking up at the wall, then do that exercise that we do where you keep one leg straight and one foot just for stability, so that you learn not just this straight line, but how to keep this leg energized and push into the floor. All right. Push into the floor. That's all you have to do to lift up. All right, and inhale. When you push, inhale. Versus the other way that is not yoga of push away from the floor and exhale. You are sending two totally different messages to the fight or flight response and to the nervous system. Two totally different messages. One message says, this is awesome. The other one says, we are going down. All right? So choose. You choose. All right, we're going to stay upside down for a few more minutes, okay? We worked a lot on forearm balance yesterday. If you'd rather do that, go for it, but also stay in your handstand practice. Super fun, and why not? What else are you going to do? Handstands. Also, one thing that I tell you guys a lot too is to not worry about getting this straight up and down version. And pressing is like, everybody wants to press into a handstand and get straight up and down. And let me tell you, there are things that need to come first, and that's usually what I focus on here, is as you focus on the techniques that I'm doing of pushing and inhaling and increasing the kind of level of effortlessness that you're experiencing and more joy while you're doing it, which releases oxytocin, versus stress, which releases cortisol, two very, very different experiences. Then what happens is the physical strength and endurance builds up along the way, and that starts to piece together on its own. And we need to think about the energetics and the level of confidence that you have, because if you're thinking like what happens is, I know I'm going off on this tangent, about once every 6 weeks here, you're looking at Instagram, you're looking at YouTube, and you're like, oh my God, I could never do that. So then when you try to do that, it's not going to happen, because there's this huge gap between that video and how long that person trained to make that video, and how they started out, and how many takes that video ended up being. All right? Don't forget that. Do your work. All right? You guys are upside down. You don't need to be watching me right now. All right, one more minute. And then it's cool because we're going to stay at the wall anyway, because I want to spend some time on Natarajasana, so we can use the wall also. All right, if you want to take a couple breaths in child's pose, go for it. Otherwise, don't even worry about it. We'll just meet up standing here near the wall. And we don't actually need the strap just yet, but make sure you have it near you. And I want to work on Natarajasana. I'm going to give you lots of ways to do this today. So we'll just start with the feet together. We'll do just this baby version where we'll bring that balance onto the left foot first. Start to take that other leg back behind you so you can reach back. That foot's like almost already there, okay? And then start to kick. Let this hip roll up. Keep the torso upright. And kick into the hand.
So some days are better balance days than others. So the wall is awesome. If you want to work on the balance part, then you back off of the back bend part. If you want to work on the radius of the back bend, then just use the wall for a little bit of support. Really easy to do that. You kind of angle. This is how I do it. Just kind of angle a little bit, and then I can focus on other things here, and I don't have to worry so much about the balance. They're very separate, so eventually they start to come together. You can come into a forward fold once it starts to happen naturally. Push through the foot, inhale, bring the torso up, and then exhale, release that foot. We'll do that on the other side, okay? So I really do like to kind of push down first here, bring that foot back so that hand and the foot meet. Start to kick and pull. Let that hip roll up. In this version, the hip needs to roll up. Don't keep the hip square because you're not going to get anywhere. Let the hip roll up. I'm going to use the wall a little bit. Keep kicking and pulling in that back foot. That's really like a huge part of this, okay? And then inhale, bring the torso up. Exhale, release that foot. Okay, go ahead and grab your strap. I love Natarajasana, and it's something that you can spend like just do sun salutations and then work on this pose and then do handstands, and that's like, what else is there? Okay, so go ahead. Oh yeah, headstand. Go ahead and grab your strap. If you've got a loop at the end, don't worry about it. Just create a loop in the middle. Get that. We'll start with that balance on the left foot. And I'll show you how to use the wall this way too, in case you haven't done that with me before. And so the real key to winning here is how effectively that shoulder can rotate, right? So let's not tear our rotator cuffs. Let the strap slide through until you can rotate that shoulder so the elbow's up overhead. Now, notice the hips level out on their own. You don't even have to think about it. Reach up overhead and kick. And now the key here is reach up toward the ceiling. Try to get lots of length going upward. And so the same thing here is, it's hard to do this, is lean against the wall for this one, all right? You can kind of lean rather than using your hand. You're just going to use the shoulder and the elbow just so that you can, just that little bit of balance. You can focus more on what's happening here and reach straight up. Push through the standing leg. You can keep the torso upright, a little bit of forward fold. All right, take 2 more breaths there. Mula Bandha now more than ever. And inhale, bring the torso back up to vertical. And exhale, release. We'll do that on the other side. Okay, this should be hard. Hopefully it's not just hard for me, it's hard for you guys too. So go ahead and we'll do that on the other side. Loop the strap around the left foot. Do your best. I'm going to challenge you guys to do this without looking at your foot. All right? You don't have to go like that. Trust that you know where your foot is. It's right there at the end of your leg. It's been there your whole life. Find that rotation easily. I'm going to use my elbow a little bit for balance, and then reach way up.
Start to slide that strap out. Inhale, bring the torso up, and exhale. So really important to let that strap slide through the hand, okay, so that you can get that shoulder out of that situation safely. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do one more version, and then we're going to do this a couple more times, whichever version you want to work on, okay? So the other version that I like to do is, I think it's called the mermaid version. That's what it's called when you're in pigeon anyway. So you can use the wall for this. The wall is your best friend, okay? May not be sexy, but it's always there for you. All right. So you can kind of lean a little bit, get this foot in the bend in the elbow. Start to kick that foot up. And bring the gaze up. It's hard to talk right now. Bring the gaze up behind you. All right? So you want lots of space. If you don't get trapped right here, kick that foot. Kick the foot away from you. That's going to give you lots of space. Okay. Let's do that on the other side. I don't know why this is killing me today. Okay. So lean the shoulder against the wall. Just get that foot up in the bend in the elbow. And if this is horrible, then hopefully you're doing something else entirely. I've got my right butt cheek giving me support against the wall. Reach up. And slowly coming out of it. Bring the foot down and then come out of that twist. Okay? So now we're going to do that 2 more times. Pick your own version. Okay? About 5 breaths each side. So this last version that we're doing, this is a back bend, twisting forward fold. Seriously. You've got the torso forward a little bit, other legs way back behind you, and you're twisting toward it. There's a lot going on. So think about all of those elements that we need here to give that type of structure lots of shape, lots of support. Push, mula bandha, and that relationship, if you're doing this version again, the mermaid version again, that relationship between the foot and the arm back behind you, that foot needs to be kicking. Don't just expect your psoas muscles to suddenly be different. You know, kick more, and that's going to teach the psoas muscles and those transverse abdominals that, oh, okay, this is kind of okay, right? Coming out of it, let's do that other side, whichever version you're working on. This is your homework. At least spend at least 1 day a week in your practice focusing specifically on just this pose. Like, here's a little insider tip on learning asanas, these poses, is to spend time on one individual asana and obsessing about it. That is the only way that these things are really available. It'd be nice to, I used to hold on to my foot, but my little accident, there it is. Okay, that's coming around. Hello, toe. To be fair, it wasn't a motorcycle, it was a
motorbike. All right, one more time each side, whichever version, okay? And they're all relevant. And what's so great, I'm going to talk a little bit about back bends while you're doing your last side. When you are doing these big old back bends like this, resist any temptation for a counter pose, because I really believe that once you get the spine into this state of mind, you're teaching it something different, rather than that constant counter pose is teaching this that it's not a good thing, that, oh, that's not good for me. So staying in this back bend frame of mind, getting through all of them, just like when we do back bends on the belly or on the floor here, or on our backs, the keeping in that back bend frame of mind, and then be neutral for a moment, and then do that counter pose, all right? That's how you're gonna progress. So I think you should be done with that last side by now, all right? So you can go ahead and come back to the middle of the room on your mat, and we'll meet up in down dog, which is the only counter pose you need. Yogis, I'm going to give you two choices here. You may either bring the right foot through for Hanumanasana or bring the right knee up for Ekapada Kapotasana. Totally up to you. Either the splits or pigeon. Same shape. We've just been in for like 20 minutes. Essentially. You can come into a forward fold if you like. Keep the back leg active. Always push into the floor through whatever part of the body is touching the floor. And you can come into a forward fold here as long as you stay with it. Stay in your practice. Mula Bandha, space in the armpit area. If you are in Hanumanasana, same thing. Push through the back foot more. Push through the top of that back foot and just notice how that changes everything about the pose and your level of participation. If you are in a forward fold in either one of these poses, you can bring the torso up to vertical and maybe work on any one of those back bend versions that we were doing just now in Natarajasana. Either reach back with one hand, use a strap, reach up overhead with both hands, or bend the knee and slide the foot into the elbow into that mermaid version. It's all the same, just that other leg's doing something different. Oh. And Mula Bandha. Enjoy. If you are in a back bend version, go ahead and release. Lots of length. Inhale, plant the hands, and take a vinyasa. And do that on the other side. Left foot forward, either Hanuman or Ekapada Kapotasana. Get lots of length. You can come into a forward fold if you like, or just stay. Keep the torso upright. Push into the floor through the back leg no matter where you are, and the top of that back foot. And breathe. I'll come into my cheating version here. If you are coming into any back bend version, go for it. And if you are in a back bend, go ahead and release. Tuck the toes, yogis. Take a vinyasa. Nice work from your down dog. Inhale, jump through. And go ahead and lie on the back. Bring the knees to the chest. Drop the knees on over to the right side. An easy twist here. We did lots of twists already in the class. Just want a little bit of release here, and then take those knees on over to the other side. Bring the knees back to center and slide the feet away from you for Shavasana. Take a deep inhale here. And just take a moment to congratulate yourself today, yogis, for caring for this physical vehicle with such reverence today. And let go of any thoughts or ideas that you have about your practice. And let the physical, let the bony structure just kind of float in the sea of soft tissue.
Wayanti Kayanti Jagadurapate Harakatuai Brahmade Tresha Guru Itawahe Guru Wayanti Kayanti Jagadurapate Harakatawai Brahmade Tresha Guru Itavahe Guru Wayanti Karyanti Jagadurapate Harakatavai Brahmade Tresha Guru Itavahe Guru Om. And slowly begin to bring the awareness back into the body. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Relax. And begin to move fingers and toes. Ankles and wrists. Arms and legs. Turn the head to one side and then the other. And take a big stretch up overhead, yogis. Stretch all the way from the fingertips down through the toes. And from the toes back up through the fingers. Hug the knees to the chest and roll all the way over onto your left side. And all the way over on the right side. And come on up to a seated position. Keep the eyes closed. Bring your hands together to your heart center in Anjali Mudra, where we connect our everyday self, yogis, with our infinite self. We'll chant one Om. Take a deep inhale. Allow a smile to spread across the face. We are all one, yogis. Namaste. Thank you for the privilege. Super Waheguru. Fearlessness and mercy at all times. I want to remind you guys about a workshop that's happening tomorrow on the 5 Klashas. This is like a topic that really isn't talked about a lot or talked about or taught a lot. So I think it's kind of a cool opportunity. And anyway, thanks for everything here at Ironwood. You guys know how to find me, all right? takeavinyasa@gmail.com and take care.